Dave, a pretty scrappy match at times, but must be pretty pleased to get your first win of the goal.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very proud of that, probably in particular of our young forwards. You know, like we've got Cameron Orr, obviously starting debut, Big Trev, Hosea, starting debut. Geordie would only have a handful of caps. Pone's obviously only got 3 caps. Josh Kemeny only got 3 caps. And they played against a really experienced pack, you know. So if I compare that with the Waratahs, Robertson's got, I don't know, 50-something probably. Hooper, Simmons, over 100. Hannigan, somewhere around there. Dempsey, over 50. So for a young pack, I think that was probably the most pleasing thing for me, is that there's a lot of young backs going around the comp at the moment that are getting a lot of praise, but I probably think that I'm proud of the forwards that are developing. I'm probably also proud of the fact that it's the most Victorians we've ever had in a Rebels team, which is a pretty special achievement, you know. And so I think of people back home like Gary Gray and Lindsay and Bob and people who've been on the board and things for a long time who I know this will be particularly special for them, you know. So and Dane just said to me walking up the stairs, yeah, it's really great to see all those Victorian boys in the change room now, where playing for Melbourne means so much to them, and I think that was a pretty special moment, all those young guys together.
Well, it's the first time we beat the Tars, or the Rebels have beaten the Tars twice in the season. Nice little sort of better than that cap as well.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think the hard thing probably for the Waratahs was the nature of their defeat last week. Probably emotionally sapped them, I would think, a fair bit. And so, you know, I feel a bit for Rob. I mean, I've liked the way that the Waratahs are playing. You know, I think again, you've got a lot of young guys in that mix, and they're being brave with the way they're trying to play. And it didn't work for them tonight, but you know, I think he's got to persevere with it.
Dane, did you feel reasonably comfortable being able to pin them down their own end in that overall possession territory that second half? You must have felt confident in that game plan. You could negate their scoring options there.
Yeah, definitely. I think I felt like we controlled the game everywhere. Our defence was working. We kicked well. Set piece was really good. That's a much improved Waratahs team from the first time we beat them. So I think we're really happy with that performance. I thought they played really well and were unlucky not to win last week. And so they're a good team. I just think our boys prepared really well and came out and did the job tonight.
It was probably the first week we felt maybe there were no sort of distractions for us off the field. I think I actually said that to the team before the game. It's just probably with everything that's been going on back home, it was the first week the bye came at a great time for us because it just allowed us to settle and then start thinking about rugby again. And I could feel just a slight shift in the group and focus back on rugby. And I think, as Dane said, you know, probably our thoughts are probably also just with the people back in Melbourne because you know, we're living at Terrigal and doing very well there, but it's probably our families in particular and obviously our fans and stuff in Melbourne that are doing it a bit tough, so we're just thinking about them.
Dave and Dane, just to comment on Matt tonight, looks like he's enjoying himself, but it must be nice having a really controlling, experienced playmaker, completely different in the mould of Wade Cooper from last year, but to have Matt there now. Just talk about his contribution.
Yeah. You want to talk?
Yeah, I mean, Pup's a great character. He's a great leader, leading us around and obviously great strategist. So he's a cool head and he's doing a great job for us at the moment. I thought he really stood up for us tonight and controlled the field, controlled the tempo of the game.
And you were off at half time. You were right. What about the rest of the team as well? Payne went off early in the second half too.
Who did, sorry, Christy?
Was it Payne?
Yeah, Pone. Yep. So Pone's fine. He just yeah, I think he started to cramp up a little bit. Geordie's rolled his ankle a little bit. I thought actually it was a great performance from Geordie because he got a bit rattled in the warm up, did his ankle and actually recovered from that and went on to have a really good game. You know, got on ball a few times. His set piece in just a couple of days as you know, he's fixed that. And then the only other one is Dane, which fortunately doesn't look too bad.
But how sweet is that picture? They're given some talk around the Rebels as a club, comp structures next year. Is that satisfying to do that against a lot of the
Yeah, Tom, I'm not sure where all this talk keeps coming from about the Rebels, because everything that I've spoken to Rugby Australia, or the comments that they've made, they've been pretty definitive about it, you know. And my view on it is very simple, which is every big city in Australia that deserves to have a Super Rugby team. And we live in one of the best economies in the world. And if we're talking about having to shrink to compete, it's just the wrong conversation to be having, you know. Like, the conversation we should be having is, how do we build the best rugby competition, franchise rugby competition in the world? You know, how do we build a version of IPL of rugby, and build that not only for the best Australian players but also for the best global players? You know, how do we bring the Mario Tojes of the world and those sort of guys to Australia and make a product that's really desirable for broadcasters and fans? And I get a bit tired, to be honest, of this constant sort of negativity around the game in Australia. It's quite draining, actually, to be honest.
Just want to ask about the conditions though, Dan. Like, clearly they're a bit wet. All the games are at night. Does that, do players at times want to play in the afternoon? Like, it just seems like it's a constant thing we're talking about why I drop ball and that possibly having an outcome on the game.
A little bit greasy, but I think there are definitely some good passages of play. I don't know if it's necessarily an issue. It's just another challenge that teams have to deal with, and the smartest team will end up winning, I suppose.
We had a late withdrawal, obviously, with Campbell getting injured in the last play of Wednesday training. So for Hodgie to come in and perform well at 13, he did a great job. And then at half time he had to move to 15, and Pup had to move to 12, and Billy Meeks had to move to 13. So there's another big reshuffle. So I was proud of the backs. You know, it's a pretty disruptive prep. And then there's obviously a 2.5-hour bus drive in here this evening. So I think with all of that, I was just really proud of the intensity and the effort that the guys showed. You know, I thought that was pretty special.